Okay, so having had a look at the internet, I have found some information which leads me to hope that I can unseize this engine. In other words, I'm hoping that it's just seized because of the fact it hasn't moved for a very long time. What I've done so far is I've removed, this is one of the return pipes from the injectors, so any excess fuel from the injectors gets led back into the fuel system. So that's that one, and there's that one there. I've loosened that off. I've got 3 injectors, 1, 2, 3. I've removed the clamp. There's a little clamp that fits on there. That holds your injector on. I'm not showing this very well, I know, but there we go. So that sits on there and holds the injector on, or in. So I've undone the nut, removed the fuel pipe from the top of the injector, and then that just slides off. Now I'm stuck with, how do I get the injector out? It's not moving at all. There's a little attachment on the side of the injector where I think they call it the bleed off pipe goes, and that's the bit that this rubber pipe fits onto. I can't remove that because there's a bolt on top of the air intake manifold which prevents me from getting a spanner anywhere near it to get it off. So that has led me to think that I have to take the rocker cover off. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. And I haven't got a spanner big enough. Okay, so I'm going to try and loosen or remove this bolt. Oh, that was easier than I thought. Okay. One of the things I'm grateful for is the easy access to the engine. There's plenty of room all the way around, and that is something that I intend to keep. I've yet to build them, but I've got the wood just about ready to have basically maybe 2 or 3 panels each side of the engine which can be easily removed. Right, so everything I remove goes into this little container or tray, sorry. Now I'm presuming this has to come off as well. I see. So this one would be your oil filler. That's where you would put your oil in. There's an extra washer on there. Okay. And these ones seem to have an O-ring. Now then, there we go. So oh, come on, awkward. So there we go. That is the rocker cover removed, so I can see all the rockers. And the thing is, it's all very oily, which is good because there's no rust on the top of these rockers at all. And I've seen engines where in parts it's got rust has formed, and people have still managed to get them going, so that gives me a little bit of hope. So you can see, so this is from the front of the engine here. So this is injector number 1, 2, 3, and I'll just show you on this one. Whoops, come here. So this is I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a clamp that holds the injector into the engine, and it doesn't really want to move initially. It's quite hard on there, so you have to just give it a bit of a there we go. And I'm trying to keep an eye on the time because I've got to go to work soon. So this whole process is going to take a few days, I think. Now I have been, oh look, the studs come out on this one. That's interesting. So I started loosening off this, but the stud has actually come out, which is quite good. I wish that had happened with the other ones, but so that's the clamp out, complete with the stud. I'll put that back in there. So I now have fairly or better access. I don't know whether you can see it, but on each of the injectors is this bleed off. So that's where the excess fuel goes back into the system. Okay, so ideally I would like to get these off each injector and then see if I can get a spanner or something and just try and waggle the injector a little bit, see if I can loosen them off. I have given them a good soaking for the last couple of days. I've squirted some WD-40 around the injector in the hope that that will have some effect. I'm going to have to go off to work now. In fact, that little noise was my alarm reminding me to get ready. So I'm going to put some more WD-40 around here before I wind up. And I'm working late tonight, so no more work until tomorrow morning. Okay. So I'm just going to point out that before I remove the injectors, I'm going to give all this area a really good clean, and when I'm not working on it, I'm going to put a cloth over the top, and that's to stop any muck going into the top of the cylinder. The only thing I'm going to put into the cylinder is some penetrating oil, and that is in the hope that the thing that is stopping the engine from turning is the fact that the pistons are seized in the cylinder. So that's my hope anyway. So I've given the whole area a good clean, and especially down in where the injectors go, so there's no muck, hopefully, will drop down into the cylinder. And I've managed to get the bleed off piece, which would fit in there. It's just got a little bolt on it there, so I've just taken that off. And then I can, from this side, just waggle the injector about, with the hope I don't know how you pull it out. I had assumed that it would just lift out, but it's not doing so. Maybe if I what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reattach the fuel pipe onto there. And see whether I can, maybe that's not the answer then. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue. I'll take this pipe off again, and I'm going to just try and continue to turn the injector. So I've just kept turning and turning the injector, and finally there we have it. Now just clean that off a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to number the injector. I'm just going to get a pen and just write the number 1. Just in case it makes a difference. So the same injector is going to go back in the same place. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3. This is hurting me back. Now I'm just going to clean around the entrance. So that's the entrance there to the top of the cylinder. So I'm going to squirt penetrating oil into that cylinder. I'm going to do the same for these 2, and then give it a few days, and then we'll see if we can turn the engine. So after about a week of putting penetrating oil into the top of the cylinders, and also some transmission fluid into the top of the cylinders, and I keep trying to turn the flywheel and it's not moving. So the only other thing that I've read about is removing the water pump, which is just here. That's the drive for the water pump is there, and this is the water pump impeller housing. There's a little plastic wheel in there that spins round. So this is going to have to come off anyway. I think you can see that there's obviously been some leaking in the past. So I'm going to have to take these clips off there, and there's 3 bolts there holding this part of the front of the pump on. So I'm going to take them off and see what happens. Now these take some time. One smaller than that. There we go. So this is going to take some time. So join me a bit later. What's the different size? Oh well. So I've tried getting the water pump. All the bolts are off the water pump. Leading from the top side of the impeller is this pipe. Now I undid the hoses. There's a couple of what do you call them? Jubilee clips at this end, but I still can't get the pump off. So sorry about this. It's a bit cramped. So this pipe is going to have to come off. So I've taken, there was a Jubilee clip there, so I've taken that off and So I'm going to see how far we get. Probably a bit of water coming out of here, I think. Oh, is that held on by another clip of some kind? No, I don't think so. There we go. Ow. I'm just trying to persuade the whole thing. There we go. That's it. I'll see if I can show you. It might be a bit dark and dismal down here. There we go. So I've taken the pump off. That's where it was. Just rotated that way. And what I found was that the bottommost bolt holding the pump on, you can't get it out with the pump in place. So you've got to leave that, and then when you take it out, you still can't get it off. So that bolt is going to have to stay. So I've just moved the whole assembly forward, and I will have to get the torch and have a look in there. Oh, should have brought a torch with me. Right. So that's the inside of the drive mechanism for the water pump. And as you can see, it looks oily. Probably a bit of, oh no, that's just the housing, I think. I thought it was greased down the bottom end. But I think it's just the housing there. So tomorrow we'll see. I mean, having said that, the pump, it's not turning. When I'm trying to turn this, it's not turning. So it could be that this is all seized up. So I might investigate that tomorrow. That pipe doesn't look too smart. Heavens. Anyway, I've done what I intended to do today, which was to get the pump off. And I've got a couple of bolts here which I need to put somewhere safe, and I'm going to go and make my tea now. Well, still no luck. I'm going to disconnect the alternator, not that that makes any difference, but I'm going to take that off, take the belt off. And this is the back end of the bit that drives the impeller. So I'm going to take this back end off. There's also another little access point here, just near the fuel pump. So I'll take that off. I've continued to put penetrating oil in the tops of the cylinders. I've sprayed it all over the top of the valves. If this doesn't work, if I can't loosen this engine off, the only thing I can think, the last thing I'm thinking of doing is to actually disconnect the gearbox, which is it's not a job I want to do, but that's the only thing that I can think of doing. It's just doing my head in at the moment now. So the problem with the engine has been a real pain in the backside. It's been a bit of a worry. I've been on a real downer about it. It's my own fault. I just assumed that it would be okay. I'm still trying to think of something positive about it, which is hard to do. So I'll show you in a minute the stage I've got to. But other than that, I am leaving it alone. I'm going to try and get on with something else. So the next stage, I think, will be to take the water pump off again. I was worried in when I pumped. I got there's a pump which I'll try and show you, which has a little tap that you can turn, and it will pump out either the engine oil or it will pump out the gear oil. And what I found was that the pump had been put together the wrong way round. So I fixed the pump and I started pumping oil out of the engine, and the first thing that came out was water, and I thought, oh my God, what's gone on here? But I've since thought about it that because I took the internal water pump apart, I think the water from the sort of internal circulation, so this would be fresh water, has drained into the sump. So anyway, I pumped everything out, and then I've put fresh oil in. And I think the next stage is going to be to take the water pump off again, and just see if it makes any difference, and then do some more research on the internet, see what I can find out. So if anybody knows anything about this particular engine, a Buhk 36, any ideas of what I can do, yeah, please comment. So all this problem with the engine has had an impact on the frequency of video posts and updating social media pages, because I just haven't felt like it, to be honest. But hey ho, we're back into it again. I've had a few days off as well. Had a few, well, more than a few days away from the boat. Got a trip into Edinburgh. Very, very nice. Love Edinburgh. But yeah, back on the boat. The weather's been rubbish the last few days. It's been constant rain almost. So I'm trying to crack on with a few other little projects around the boat and forget the engine. Yeah, so I'll sign off there. Thanks for sticking with it. I've seen that there's been some more subscribers, so thank you very much. It really does lift me, it helps pick me up to know that people have been bothered to click that subscribe button, so thank you so much. Anyway, so let's see what happens in the next episode when it comes. It shouldn't be too far away. Bye.